In last night's Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes recorded his fourth career double-digit comeback win in the playoffs. Only Tom Brady, 6, has more. Jalen Hurts recorded the fourth instance of 300 pass yards and 3 rush TDs in a game in NFL history. Hurts is responsible for 2 of the 4 instances. Here's the quarterbacks on the game.
You either win or you learn. That's how I feel. You either win or you learn. So, as always, win, lose, or draw, I always reflect on the things that I could have done better, things we could have done better, to try and take that next step, and that'll be the same process that goes on now.
If there was any doubters left, there shouldn't be now. I mean, the way he stepped up on this stage and ran through the ball, whatever it took for his team to win. I mean, that was a special performance that I don't want it to get lost in the loss that they had. I mean, even whenever we got all the momentum in that game and we went up 8 points in the fourth quarter, for him to respond and move his team right down the football field and run it in himself for the 2-point conversion, it was a special performance by him, man. And I mean, you make sure you appreciate that when you look back on this game.
Yeah, and earlier, guys, we talked about what a great guy Patrick Mahomes is.
Yeah,
Jalen Hurts as well, both of them.
Yes.
Such high character guys, such incredible talents. And I just want to say one more thing, because we didn't mention it. We're a little fire drill coming into the show behind the scenes. But this was one of the best Super Bowls in terms of just close match we've had in years and ultimately ever. Michael, I want to start with you here. Both guys played well last night. Who was more impressive to you?
Ooh. Molly, this is hair splitting. So I'm just looking at the stats. If I'm going to glean anything, it's going to make me lean one way or another. Man, Jalen Hurts, early in that game, I was worried about him running as much as he did. Wondering, Ryan, whether or not those calls were things that he checked into, some of those runs early. And I'm thinking, is he going to have enough energy and be healthy enough to finish this game, because they're going to need him to make those plays late? And he made them late, too. This sounds crazy, because the MVP is a legit MVP, all right?
Yep.
I mean, he's the MVP. There's no arguing against it. Yet, man, Jalen Hurts played, even if not a little bit better. His team needed him to. Nothing that the Eagles didn't accomplish had to do with Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
Had everything and only to do with their defense being unable to pressure the MVP.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, clearly, as far as I'm concerned, he had a better game. He was absolutely sensational. I was really, really proud of him. Felt very bad for him because the ball just slipped out of his hand. Now, of course, we can't ignore the fact.
That's true.
We can't ignore the fact that gave Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs 7 points, and they won by 3. We just can't ignore that. Even though it was early in the game, the fact of the matter is that's what happened. But that is literally the only thing that he did wrong. I'm watching this brother throw the football. I mean, he threw some dimes, man. He threw the touchdown to A.J. Brown. He threw
passes to Goddard.
the passes to Goddard. How about the pass down the right sideline to Devontae Smith as well? I mean, this brother, Jalen Hurts, showed up big time and was running the football effectively as well. So we got to give all love and respect and credit to him in that regard. And this is the best thing. This is just a flat-out truth. The Philadelphia Eagles defense lost this game.
Yes.
The Philadelphia Eagles defense, when they're going back to Philadelphia and that town is talking about the Eagles and why they didn't get done, I don't blame anybody on the offensive side of the ball. I thought Jalen Hurts, for the most part, was protected. I thought A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Goddard showed up. They didn't run the ball that effectively, but they didn't have to. You had Jalen Hurts running the football, okay? So we get that. They lost this game. Even with the fumble, they lost this game because they couldn't get to Patrick Mahomes, because they were playing man when they should have been playing zone, because Andy Reid, the man who fired Nick Sirianni, all right, he outcoached him. He outcoached him. And that's what it comes down to, period.
You know, we did our best to focus on the fact that this was the first time we saw 2 African-American quarterbacks start in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
I think the thing that we missed in pointing that out time after time was this is also the MVP and the runner-up to the MVP. And that was something that we didn't shine enough light on, because that tells you the way that Jalen Hurts has played throughout the season. We focus more on the shoulder injury, what he's been since returning. And what Jalen Hurts showed us last night is that not only has he ascended, not only has he worked to fix some of the accuracy issues he has, that it could show up on the big stage. A lot of times when people get on the big stage, you revert back to who everyone thought you were or who you were before you made the improvements. You know, it's like you guys seeing a dude who was a 60% free throw shooter, who's now a 75% free throw shooter, but you put him on the line at the end of the game with 2 seconds left. Then he reverts back to bad form. Now he can't hit the broadside of a board. And we usually see that when the pressure is on. This dude elevated his play. He's standing across from Patrick Mahomes, the best player in football, and he's actually outplaying him. You go down 8. This is the time that you could fold. This is the time where you're like, oh, we've seen this story before. Patrick Mahomes has 4 comebacks in playoffs when he's already down 10. I know what's about to happen. No, he goes and makes the play. Not only drives the team down the field with the big pass to Devontae, but you run the football in on the 2-point conversion. There was nothing else this dude could have done. And I agree with you on the one thing. You can't make a mistake when you're playing Patrick. You're trying to switch the ball to the other hand. You fumble. You give the ball up. But you come back and you atone for that, Stephen A. Yeah. You up 10 at halftime.
Yeah.
He did. One of the other things, and listen, sometimes we refer in the past, and, there's levels. It's like, if you did something in the past on a pro level, but if it happened in college or whatever, we may not bring it up. In this case, it's worthy of bringing this up. Jalen Hurts was benched in a national championship game because he was god-awful. That ignited the career of Tua Tagovailoa. Mm-hmm. Yesterday was the biggest game Jalen Hurts had in his career since that day.
Yeah.
Because, you could talk Oklahoma. That's when they got to the college football playoffs, when he transferred to Oklahoma. Okay, no. The last time I saw Jalen Hurts in this situation was when he was playing for Alabama. And he showed up last night and let you know that's a distant memory.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He is not that same dude.
Although it is a distant memory, but what's amazing to me, and I wonder what you think about this. It seems like the improvement came so quickly. Usually you think about improvement being gradual.
Yeah.
There's not multiple
offseasons. Can I interrupt you on that? Kurt Warner said it's like the biggest 180 he's ever seen by
Bruh. Lord, as everyone laughs at the way I read your tweet. I can't even do it with a straight face. All right, RC, with a Super Sunday edition of Explain Your Tweets. There is no better Twitter follow while these games are going on than Ryan Clark. Here we go. The first one. That's 2 for Patrick. Best ever thus far. Only chasing the GOAT Tom Brady for me at this point. Man won the whole thing with Juju being his biggest threat outside and a defense that got ran through like competitors in a young Andy Reid's punt, pass, and kick tourney. RC, explain that tweet.
First of all, y'all saw Andy Reid in that punt, pass, and kick. Andy Reid was a grown man. He kicked that thing out of the stadium. But think about Patrick Mahomes and where he is right now in his career. We've gone through all of his accolades today. But when you think about who he was coming into the league, no one expected Patrick Mahomes to be this. And since he's been the starting quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, he's been the absolute best in the league. The hardware says it. The film says it. And every time that Patrick Mahomes steps onto the field, we say this: the other team could be better. The other team can be close. But in the end, we believe in Patrick Mahomes more than we believe in anybody. It's like Tiger against the field when we knew what was happening on Saturday in that red shirt, on Sunday in that red shirt.
No question about it. And Mahomes frequently in a red shirt as well, working his way up historically. All right, next tweet. Andy Reid is mindifying the Eagles in the red zone. RC, explain that tweet.
Man, it was like watching the Stinking Mentalist. Andy Reid just knew what to do. He comes out and they do the ring around the Rosie huddle at one point. And then after they do the ring around the Rosie, they say, oh, we know what you're going to do. When we put somebody in motion, you're going to try to bump the coverage. When you bump the coverage, we're going to snap it right there, get somebody to the flat. We're not just going to do it one time. We're going to do it 2 times. And then when you have the numbers in the box, you hand the ball off to Isaiah Pacheco, who every time he runs the football, he's running it like everybody's chasing him, and he don't have no money. It's absolutely phenomenal what Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy were doing with that offense.
Now I read that more correctly. Now I see it says mine. Now I see what it actually said. Okay, I get it. All right, one more. Let's give some love to Jalen Hurts. No matter how this ends, there are no longer any questions about Jalen Hurts. Squash all that. He's their guy. RC, explain that tweet.
You know what? I think this one to me was the most simple to explain. You know, if you watch Jalen Hurts' career, you were thinking maybe they were going to put Gardner Minshew in the game at halftime, or maybe he was going to have to go play for another team to finally be respected. Jalen Hurts, coming into this game, the talk was about 2 black quarterbacks starting the game for the first time. The other conversation should have been that it was the MVP and the MVP runner-up, and Jalen Hurts was every bit of that. Everyone talked about what would he be like on the largest scale. How will his injury affect his play? Jalen Hurts was absolutely phenomenal throughout the entire day. He did everything we watched him